Another day, another video. Hey guys, Thunderstrike 101 here. With an episode of The Owl House. Episode 1 of Season 3, thanks to them. Now, I'm doing this... Actually, I fixed these in editing, but the lighting is terrible. But, first things first, I want to say... editing-wise, I'm trying a new style. Well, even with the previously recorded ones like my Amphibia series, Slug Terror, movies, that sort of thing, I'm gonna put the discussions on YouTube, so before and after the reaction, I'm gonna, put them in one video on YouTube, and the actual reaction, I'm going to put on another site, like Archive I usually do. Now, The Owl House. This is a show that I've been enjoying more than Amphibia, story-wise. The end of my Amphibia reaction isn't gonna come out yet, won't come out for a while. But story-wise, I do like this more. Character-wise, Amphibia is better. Probably because I have a better... It helps that I also have a better... what would you call it? First impression? Yeah, first impression. Amphibia, what I did is I got into the reaction, and it was a mainly episodic standalone show. So I had to power through like a day. I would get through like a season or two, like one day. In fact, one episode I did one video I did like 10 episodes or something. This one, I was mostly just enjoying at my own pace. Like, the first time I saw it was some compilation on YouTube. The Cawthorn Sisters. I was like, I saw this, I thought, oh, this looks interesting. Like, I didn't see the first season, and I'm stumbling over my words. I didn't see the first season in order. Second season, yeah. And, about this show being cancelled, I might have mixed opinions here, but I'll explain myself. It's good that it was cancelled. Okay? Not because, I'm against LGBT or anything. Because, speaking of Amphibia again, a lot of people complained that it was so slow or too much filler. I went in with that mentality as well. Even though it really wasn't that kind of show. It really wasn't that kind of show. Slowing down, watching other people's reactions, that's what I do. I get other people's opinions on these things. Just enjoying at my own pace after my initial recording. I enjoy Amphibia far more than when I first watched it. This show, again, because it was cancelled, they had to make every episode almost every episode plot relevant, especially season 2. Now, does that make it rushed? For me, because I was watching this, I caught up to episode 10 of the second season, and then, the episodes after were just weekly. Watching them, one episode at a time on a weekly basis, it wasn't that bad. It didn't feel too rushed for me. But then, when you go back and binge some of these, yeah, I can see how some of these would feel rushed. Again, the actual scheduling didn't feel too rushed. It's like those older shows like Ben 10 or Teen Titans. Or Phineas and Ferb, if you binge them, it gets repetitive, it gets tiring. But if you watch them, just on a weekly basis, and since those sorts of episodes tend to repeat on the same week, because you don't expect, people back then didn't expect didn't expect kids like me to, be caught up with every single episode. The shows I mentioned, Ben 10, Phineas and Ferb, Teen Titans, I didn't see every single episode until a couple of years ago. Like, I just watched them in my own time. I still saw a good chunk of them. But, yeah, what else was I going to say? I have a couple of notes here. Well, a couple talking points. Okay, my predictions on getting back. I wonder if they're gonna take a more scientific method to this, like they did in Amphibia, instead of using music to harness cosmic power and travel between realms or dimensions, more like they just built their own portal. This is where that rushed thing comes back. Because you'd have to get to know Earth here, get them all settled in. Actually, I'd imagine there's a time skip. No, I know there's a time skip. The thing is, I'm on YouTube like 24/7. I try to avoid spoilers, but some things are inevitable. Like, I know there's a time skip, unfortunately. Like, again, this is where rushing things would be a lot more noticeable. Yeah, predictions is probably by science, or the only surefire way is by Titan's blood. And this era that we're in for the Boiling Isles, they've practically mined up all the Titan blood in the corpse. Well, not all of it. Like, the time travel episode was... Time pools were a special kind of algae mixed with Titan blood. The pollution from the human realm came into the demon realm, by Titan's blood. Tibbles said about a year ago he found those Azura books. And so on. They might find something, some Titan's blood to get back. Maybe they'll blend magic and science because, the others came back. And showing Lilith casting spells in the last episode of the first season, magic works in the human world, not glyph magic, because it harnesses the magic around you, and no magic in the human realm. But I wonder if they'll run out of magic. They explain it as like a bile sac connected to a witch's heart, which eventually that'll run dry. They might run out of magic, but who knows? And also, talking about one-off villains, I want to see the Titan Trappers. They do seem... They seem like an interesting threat, especially since they worship the Collector as the Grand Huntsman. That's definitely something I want to see this. Probably because the show was cancelled and they had to rush through. I doubt we'll ever see them again, but that's interesting. Like, I went and saw all the Titan Trapper stuff, all Titans, like murals, the Shrine to the Huntsman and all that. The Titan Trapper fighting that monster was, in King's Castle. The Titan was a Titan Trapper fighting a Titan. And you see in the background, I'll put up these pictures. In the background, there's these sort of flashes. And if you see the Owl Beast, when it gets captured by the Collector, there's these flashbangs that appear in front of it. Like flashbangs, and it's captured by a shadow net of some kind. That was the Collector. So, Titan Trappers might have fought alongside the Collector. or maybe after. I don't know the time, but yeah, and similar thing with the shrine to the huntsman that in the Titan Trapper episode. You go back and look, there's a lot of... Yeah, and speaking of the collector, people... I've seen it all around the internet that he's probably just, a little kid, doesn't know what he's doing, and he just wants to have fun, doesn't have anyone to discipline him. I don't think he's that innocent. I don't think he's that innocent and naive. He gave Bells the draining spell. He's been alive for, what, millions of years at this point? And some of those millions of years was outside of being, in the that in-between realm. And Child from the Stars and all that. But yeah, the Owl Beast and the Collector would be an interesting concept. He was the one who caused it. And what else? Oh yeah, back to the Titan Trappers. I want to take a shot at the, guessing their time, the time of the events in chronological order. So Collector came down to the demon realm, terrorizing, hunting, that sort of thing. He gets captured. The Titan Trappers find one of those, well, some witches find that tablet that lets him, lets him communicate with the Collector. They start to build their culture around him, killing Titans, worshipping him as the Grand Huntsman, or it's when he's free, or it's when he's free, they fight alongside him, they fight Titans, and, they still want to appease their god. Well, they still worship their god even after he gets captured. I'd imagine at some point they tried to release him, but it didn't go well. Because, they had a fractured tablet, and he wasn't free. But anyways, we're not talking about this. Let's get into episode 1 of season 3 of the Owl House. Thanks to them in right, earphones. And also I'm getting breakfast after this. It's early in the morning and I haven't eaten yet. But yeah, I was worried about the pacing on this, because again, as far as like rushing through this, with the second season, because I think the first season they just set up, and then they got the cancellation news when it was done. Second season, it helped that it was just one episode per week. That helped with not feeling so rushed. The pacing was definitely nice. I was worried that there would be rushing through, and in some cases it was, but there's only so much you can do. The pacing, again, pacing was nice. I wish we saw some glimpse of what the Demon Realm became, what the Collector turned the Demon Realm into. And what was the second thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, I can see at least one of them staying in either realm. Either, say, Hunter staying in the human realm or Lou staying in the demon realm. I don't know. Her mum seems to be okay with whatever decision. It might be hard, but I think she'll be okay with them. Like I said, I said this thing in Amphibia. This video will come out long before the last episode of Amphibia. But like I said, considering how much Marcy and, well, especially Marcy and Sasha, how much of an impact they had in Amphibia, and all that they've done, they've found their place in the world, or in this world. I could see one of them staying behind, but nah. Hardest thing, saying goodbye. I wonder what the demon room would be like. Like just this giant owl house, maybe a puzzle room, maze. I don't know. Beating the collector. I hear some people saying they might use the owl curse to do it, to beat the collector. I don't know about that, because the kid, here's the reason that the owl beast exists as a curse. Sure, Lilith gave the curse to Ida, but the collector made the thing. He could probably, get rid of it or something, or just not be affected. He's a god. This chaos god. Like I said, the more childish kind rather than crazy like Bill Cipher, or seductive like Eris from the Sinbad movie. If I had to guess, usually the weakness for beings this powerful, the weakness is the person underneath. Mentioning Bill and Eris, they were both tricked, and that's how they were beaten. This kid, even though he's like hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years old, and has like crazy extensive knowledge about magic. He gave Bells the draining spell, taught him all he knew about magic. Well, more, just far more about magic. Because the glyphs Bells figured out on his own. He's a kid. He can probably be tricked. Maybe not, tricked into that in-between realm a second time, but second episode, I'm thinking is either from the Demon Realm's perspective, either Rain, Darius. I don't know, the ones that were part of the draining spell, they were probably not dead, but weakened, very weakened. And on top of that, Collector and the King. I think the second episode will be from their perspective, and then third will be Endgame. I could be wrong though. Second one could be a sort of recap. Going to the Boiling Isles, and seeing what's happened. Getting acquainted. Possibly another time skip, but not months. Just enough so that they get, like I said, so they get acquainted with the world. Like again, there's only so much you can do in this. These 240-minute, these other 240-minute specials. At least Amphibia had entire episodes dedicated to these things. Building armies. Actually, I enjoy Amphibia. Character-wise, I enjoy Amphibia more than this. This is more story. Amphibia is more character. And also, there's something about this whole rugged survivalist feel to it against armies that I like. Instead of, magic against magic. Something about, simple mortals against powerful armies that I enjoy. I know, sure, you throw a bit of superpower in there, but I do like it. Like Sasha versus Darcy. It was just all skill versus a hive mind of knowledge and skill. Again, you can throw in a bit of superpower, but it would be nice anyways. So yeah, predictions. Next episode is possibly from the Demon Realm's perspective, or getting acquainted, you know, seeing what's happened. And then the third is definitely endgame. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.